Hey, Greg. All right. All right, so it's 8:16. We'll go ahead and get started. If you guys are waiting for anyone to come on, feel free to go ahead and shoot them over a text, send them the link. We'll kind of get started a little bit and just kind of getting to know everybody, talking about North American Senior Benefits. So if you are here on this Zoom, that means somebody has, selected or thinks that you might have what it takes to be a part of the team here at North American Senior Benefits. So you've been hand selected pretty much to kind of come on here, hear some stories, hear some people talk and let you know about, how this is a real industry, what it can do to change your life and what North American Senior Benefits has to offer for you out there. And so, what we're going to do is kind of go through and not like a roll call, but go through and talk to a couple folks. And what you'll do is you'll just tell me a little bit about yourself, maybe who you interviewed with, who shared the link, and then what's missing in your current career and what are you seeking with NASB. So I know earlier we had Miss Walker. She popped on. She was the first one on. And Miss Walker, do we have you? And if you guys can turn on your cameras, that's great. If you can't, that's fine. But if you could put your video on, that would be great. Miss Walker, do we have you? If you can unmute. If not, we got Kimber. I know Kimber popped on earlier. She was the second one we had on. All right, and you can unmute Miss Kimber. There you go.
Hi there.
Gotcha. So just tell me a little bit about yourself. I know that you said that you spoke with Brooke Mayo and Robbie Mayo. You chatted with them. So just tell me a little bit about yourself. What are you currently doing? What's missing from what you're doing? And what are you looking for as far as the opportunity with North American Senior Benefits?
Well, I am currently retired and I had a career in workers' comp, general liability, and vehicle accident insurance claims for about 25 years. And with the local utility company, but I retired with them with 36 years. And so now I'm new to being retired. My son was sick for a couple of years and he just recently passed in February. And so I'm kind of lost, but trying to find a new place. And I have always had a passion for older people, and I want to do something I'm interested in versus just doing something for the money or all that can be great, but I am looking for like the whole package, and this seems to interest me a lot. I do have a lot of compassion for older people, and I also know the value of having the right insurance. I'm a safety person as well, and I just think that everybody should have those benefits to rely on. And so anyway, what am I missing? That's what I would say I was missing. I just need to find my place and what I think I would like to do to take, use my time well and to be fulfilling as a career, as a just part-time, just something to get into. But also I know it can be around my hours, but I think I would spend more and more time because I see how fulfilling it is to Brooke and to Robbie. And I think that interests me there.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm definitely sorry to hear about your son. Definitely prayers for the family for that. And, it kind of seems like maybe you're wanting to, kind of fulfill a purpose, right? Kind of get out there and do something that makes you feel purposeful. I feel like a lot of us look for that. And when you go out and you help folks and you help seniors, I definitely enjoy what I do on a daily basis, and it brings a different light, especially when you're educating and you're really helping in something that matters. You're not selling cable TV. You're not selling, something like that. You're going out and you're actually helping somebody with a need to help their family. So thank you so much, Kimber. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And you can go ahead and mute back, and then we'll call on, let's see, we have, is it Laquita? Did I say that right?
You did.
There we go. All right. So Laquita, just tell me who you spoke with or interviewed you, and a little bit about yourself, what you're currently doing, and what it is that's missing from what you're currently doing, and it's kind of got you looking in the direction of North American Senior Benefits.
I talked to Michelle today, and I used to be a dispatcher, and I was just telling Michelle, because I had her laughing at me, that my boss just called me in about a month ago in her office and was like, she can't afford my salary anymore. So I was like, okay. So I ended up not having a job anymore. And I tell people all the time, like, I like people, no matter if they're old, young, babies. Well, as long as I can get a baby back, I'm fine. But babies, all that I love I love people all together. And then I have I'm like Kimber, I have a special place for older people, because sometimes older people get, tend to be mistreated or taken advantage of. And I hate to see that happen to them. So I'm always the person that I always try to help them. If I see the old lady struggling at the grocery store, I'll run and try to help her put her stuff in the car, anything like that. Because I was just raised that way. I was never, known to mistreat an older person. And I think, like, my daughter being old, I'm an empty nester now. I think I'm just bored. So I think that's what's missing. I don't have anything to do too much, right now.
Yeah, so I definitely get that, especially whenever, you get that free space. I mean, my kids, I have an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old, but they're like more where they're starting to do stuff on their own, so you start to find that, like you said, that empty space. So, and helping people, it's a big thing. And the senior community, we can help anyone, but the senior community is where we're real prominent in those areas. And you're right, sometimes they do get taken advantage of. And interns is a whole different language. And so to be able to sit down, educate, and make sure that they truly are in the right spot and they understand what they are, is a fulfilling job. And that's definitely something that we do. So thank you so much, Laquita. I appreciate it. And you can mute back, and then we will go to, I think I see Olivia. Yes, you can unmute Miss Olivia.
Hello.
Hello. If you just want to tell us who you spoke with or interviewed with, a little bit about yourself, what's missing and what you're looking for as far as North American Senior Benefits.
So I interviewed with Brittany, and I am a single mom. I have a 3.5-year-old. I work in the medical field for an electrophysiologist doctor. So he does pacemaker implants, defibrillator implants. I've been in the medical field for about 6 years now. But I feel like what's missing is I just want to work for a company where I feel like I'm making a difference in the community. And I just went through some issues with my grandma. She had a stroke, and due to lack of insurance, she wasn't able to get the best care, and she was kicked out of a rehab because she was there for 90 days and they basically kicked her out. So it really broke my heart. And now she's at home and we're having to pay people to come in and take care of her because her insurance, she chose, a cheaper route for insurance, which I get it. She's retired and can't really afford very expensive health insurance. But it's like, then when my grandma has never had a headache in her life, and then she has a stroke, and then, she's forced out of a rehab, and it's just sad. And I feel like, people don't really understand that, insurance is a very important thing. So I don't really have any experience in selling insurance, but I feel like it could be something that I definitely could be good at.
Well, hey, I didn't either. So, whenever you come here, it's really like, your grit. If you're wanting to go out to help people, you've got a good heart, you've got a good work ethic, and you're self-motivated. We teach you everything you need to know. So as long as your heart's in the right place, your mind's in the right spot, it's a good vehicle for you to go in, and we're here every step of the way. So that's awesome, Miss Olivia. You can go ahead and mute back. I'm going to go to one more. And then I know I can't go to everybody, but I'm going to call on one more. I've had some ladies, so let's call on William. Get some men on here tonight. You can go ahead and unmute William. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. So if you want to go ahead and just let us know who you spoke with or interviewed with, a little bit about yourself, and then what you're currently doing, and then what's missing from where you're at, and what are you kind of looking for the opportunity here.
Okay. I interviewed with Ryan Britton, and I've been in sales for 10 years. I love sales. I've done well in sales. I've tried to get away for sales and keep coming back to it because it's kind of a passion. So there's that. It takes a special person to be like that. Besides that, what's missing? Family life balance. You know, a lot of things with like big companies. I work for Charter Communications right now. And the harder you work, the more you make, but you also lose and sacrifice a lot on the back end. And there is no, I don't know, like Ryan was talking to me about being able to spend time with his family and stuff like that's unheard of unless it's a scheduled vacation. So that was something that's very enticing to me. And being able to plan for a financial future for my family. And I'm trying to start a family at this moment. And that's something that I would love to have, that security. So what I'm looking for is a stable environment that values their employees, not just numbers.
Perfect. I love that. And, you know, I work really closely with Ryan. He's awesome. So love him to death. He's one of the, you know, the top sales managers. He can kill it on the phone, you know, him and his wife, Kaylin, also works, you know, in the industry, and they do, you know, with their kids, and they've got 2 boys and a little girl, right? So they can kind of balance that in between. So it sounds like you want to do the industry work. You just haven't found the right vehicle.
Correct.
Right. And so that, you know, that's a big thing whenever you're out there and you've got a passion for something. It doesn't matter, you know, you just can't go anywhere for that. It's got to be the right vehicle. It's got to be the right place. So it's really good. I'm really glad to hear that. So you can go ahead and mute back there, and then we will get started. And so back and just kind of go over a little bit. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself, but first, you know, 2 things that you guys are on here and you're kind of looking at us for, right? So what you're looking at us for is you want to know, you know, what is it that we can do to help you make money, right? And then can you trust us, right? So generally, whenever you're looking and you're talking with someone and you're talking about making a career change, a life change, you know, there's a trust factor there. So you want to know, can you trust us, and will we help you make money? And that's exactly how I felt. To give you a little bit about my story. So I've been with the company since March of 2020. So about 3.5 years now. I come from property management. Prior to that, I worked in the service industry, Texas Roadhouse, and some other different places there. And I'd never done life insurance before. I was actually terrified in the very beginning. I'd never really done sales. You know, some people say service industry is sales, but it's different. You know, it's a different type. You're upselling, really, right? You're not actually going out there and trying to help people on a daily basis. And so Laura, which is one of our partners here in the company, and I worked at Texas Roadhouse together, 2008, right out of high school. Didn't speak to each other for years. And then on Facebook around, I want to say about 2018, Laura started reaching out. She's like, I think you would do great at what I do. And I'm like, well, I don't, because it's commission based and I like my salary, and thanks for thinking about me, but I don't think this is the right thing for me. Year later, she reached out, and I was kind of at a, you know, kind of going back and forth, but it scared me, you know, commission based scared me. And when Laura, you know, I'm also a single mom, you know, have been, have not been, have been, you know, kind of through that. So, you know, stability is something that meant a lot to me. And so that scared me, you know, to kind of make the jump. And then finally it was 2020. So 2 years, you know, Laura reached out, she didn't give up. She reached back out and she just said that, you know, Asia, just give it a shot. You know, what do you have to lose? Get in the car with me, do a ride along, see what you feel, you know, go out and see how you feel, you know, in the field, and, you know, about the career opportunity. And so I'd actually had a really bad day at work. It was actually around the time I had walked in, we'd done inspections, and one of the residents had committed suicide. So when I walked in, there he was. And it was just a very like, you know, moment. I'm like, you know what, maybe I will, like, you know, not only, you know, is the job in property management stressful, you know, especially when you're a property manager. I wasn't going anywhere else unless someone died, right? Or somebody moved, which they weren't, all small town folks. So it's like I was stuck where I was at, getting more and more workload and not getting paid anything else. And so I jumped in the car with Laura, and I'll tell you what stuck out to me the most is when I got in the car with Laura. First, I wanted to drive to where she's at. She's in Wilmington, North Carolina. I live here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I was like, I'm going to drive where she's at. I want to see what it's about. So I drove. She had this beautiful house, this beautiful home. Her husband also worked with her, you know, this nice vehicle. And she's like, let's go get a smoothie. And I'm like, I thought we had to go to work, you know, so used to be on that time crunch, that clock. People are watching you, you know, you're owned when you're on that clock. And so we got a smoothie, we went out and we did 3 presentations. We made a sale. We met the nicest lady. She sold a $50 app. She made $315 right then, which, should be paid about a day or 2 later. And I just thought, I love this. I love the freedom that she had in her day. She was happy. Her and her husband could work back and forth in between their schedules and things. And I'm like, I want to do that. You're owning your day. Like, how do you do this? I didn't know this was a thing. And so kind of jumped into the company, and here I am, national sales manager here. Got a team. I've brought on some of my closest friends, some family members on that have really seen that the change and the opportunity that North American Senior Benefits gave me here. And they've trusted me to come on and change their family. One of my sales managers, her husband worked car sales 13 years, 80 hours a week. They have 7 kids, and now they both work with us. They never, and that's her right there, Miss Crystal. He didn't get to see his kids. She didn't get to see her husband, and just kind of go through the balance. So now they're both here. They're building their own team, and they're really just seeing that balance. So it's really, a great opportunity that's here. And what I always like to tell people is, I can't tell you what it's going to do for you. But what I can tell you is it'll do what you want it to do. And so if you get out there and you're eager and you want to go work and you want to make a difference in someone's life, in your life, you're going to reap that. But if you go out, it's completely up to you. There's Jake there, but it's completely up to you with what you want to do with this opportunity. So I can't tell you, your guaranteed monthly salary. I can't tell you, what you're going to do on a day-to-day basis. But what I can tell you is, if you go out and you're true with your activity and really helping people, that you can get compensated very well for it. It's just the opportunity that you have to kind of put to use, right? And so, what's the forecast of your life looking like, now and for the future? If you really kind of sit back and you think about that, what's your forecast in your life looking for? Where are you at now? What do you think your future is going to be if you stay where you're at now, right? And what's the appraisal of your time? I never really valued my time as much as I do now, because my time, there's no price stamp on my time. I have 2 children. I have a 12-year-old. And an 8-year-old. My daughter plays travel softball. She has for over 3 years. Home run hitter, over 27 home run hits. I sit on that softball field and we travel almost every weekend. My son travel wrestles, 8 years old, smallest kid in the class, but you know what? He's putting it out there, and he's going in and doing things. And I wasn't able to do that as far as getting them to practice, get them to the different places. Again, I'm a single mom. Okay. I don't have someone else in the vehicle that can do those things for me. I have help from family, but ultimately that's on me. And so I have been able to get them to practices, get them to games, put them in travel sports, afford hotels whenever I go, right to the different avenues. And so, now I don't get someone to tell me where I'm going and when I'm going. And if I can, I don't ask anyone if I can have a day off. I take the day off that I need. And I do what I need for my family. And that is a very, it's a feeling that, no one can take from you, but it's a very strong feeling that you can have whenever you're sitting there with your family and knowing that everything that your family needs, you're able to provide for them, and then enjoy helping people along the way. And so if I asked your boss how much you're worth, what would they say? So if you think about that, if I sat down and I asked your boss how much you're worth, what would they say? Are they already paying you what your time is worth? How much do you think your time is worth? Right? Can you put a dollar amount on the time, and is it worth what you're going in on a daily basis and getting paid? I know mine wasn't. I made $26 an hour salary. I thought I was doing great. Came in my first month in the field. COVID hit. So again, 2020, right? So we're a recession-proof business. Everything shut down. I thought, what did I do? I literally just quit my salary job I've been at for over 7 years, and the world just shut down. And now I'm on a commission-based structure, and I'm terrified. I went out in the field. I made $7,000 in my first month in deposits. That's not the most anyone's ever made in this career. Okay. I'm just telling you what I did with COVID, with school then being out, because we're talking March. So school's still in. My kids could not go to school. They weren't old enough to stay by themselves. So I wasn't working a full-time week. I was having to rotate days with, going out in the field and maximizing those days in the field that I could, as well as rotating what my kids, they were going to school on the computer, so I kind of had to accommodate that. And I was able to do that and made $7,000 in deposits along the way. Now, I national sales manager. I got about 25 agents all over from North Carolina, Virginia, Alabama, Texas, Florida, kind of all around. And now my average income is $20,000. So, I never thought I would be able to say that. And I do not say that to brag to you guys. I say that because I've worked hard to get there and I have a team that works hard as well. And it's something that you can do. It's really an opportunity that you can go out and that you can provide for your family, and it's real. I'll show anybody on here, you text me, I'll show you bank statements, deposits, whatever it is, I have it, I can show it, and I can show it consistently. So that's another thing that, really made a difference in this career, is because nobody caps me out, right? I go and I cap myself out with the efforts that I want to put in my day-to-day. And so Harvard study says that there's an average of 2 times in your life where you get like a one shot, a once in a lifetime opportunity. One is in your 20s and one is in your 40s. Obviously, we have some folks in here that's in between, you could be 30s, 50s, whatever, but generally the average study is there's going to be 2 times in your life where you really get those life-changing opportunities, and what are you willing to do with that? And so just a little bit of breakdown or some numbers for you guys. So we work in the financial services industry. So what that means is we are the primary driver of our nation's economy. Right? So the primary driver of our nation's economy. In 2020, 49 million Americans lost their jobs. Jobs that people felt secure in. And do you know why they felt secure? Because they had benefits, they had 401ks, they had salaries and hourly paychecks. So they felt secure in what they were doing. Okay, all that stuff that people think is stability. Now, NASB has had an increase of 26% growth. Meaning people were selling our product, AKA folks were going out and working, right? The most predictable job is the one that you can control yourself, right? So the most predictable job is one that you can control yourself. 3 out of 10 Americans are more than likely to buy since COVID awareness. So not only that, our job is, we're going out, we're helping folks, right? If you have, an epidemic that comes out and more folks are dying, guess what? People are going to care more about life insurance, about protecting them and their loved ones and their families, right? So definitely right now, 100 million Americans are undercovered. 15.5 million Americans were laid off in 2022. 15.5, why we had a 26% growth. You had 15.5 million folks that lost their jobs, right? That were on those stable incomes, those steady incomes. That's what you want to say is that guarantee. So why insurance? Essential to society, a service that provides a need in the darkest moment of somebody's life to take a financial burden off their loved ones. I know everyone on this call has at some point lost someone, right? Someone that you loved. If they had insurance, it was helpful, right? It was something that could help you in that moment whenever, you don't want to have to worry about that. And if they haven't, then the struggle of having to come up and figure it out. I see in my community all the time, barbecue plate sales, different things like that, GoFundMe's and all this from folks that did not have life insurance, right? So if you can go out and you can make a difference in somebody's life and you can cover them, why would we not do that, right? Life insurance market in the US is more than twice as large as the next largest market in terms of life insurance premiums written. Insurance is an important part of financial services. The market is expected to grow from 22 billion as of 2021 to over 25 billion by 2025. No industry can say that they are recession-proof. But financial services and life insurance in particular can be seen as a recession resistant. Right. So I can't sit here and tell you when, if the world shuts down that, we're going to be recession proof, but we're resistant. So when everyone else was losing their job, I was making the most income I'd ever made in my life. And so that really speaks volume to an industry that has only done much more for that, for me and many other people that have been on here. As the old saying goes, the only thing certain in life is death and taxes, right? So that's the only thing certain, but we do know that we can make a difference as far as going out with our income and helping folks. Now, we can't buy stock in taxes, but we can serve a market with a product that everyone wants, needs, and desires. The demand for life insurance has gone up 25% from 2020 to 2021, the largest year-over-year increase since the third quarter of 1987. People need life insurance, and we want to give them that. And so I'm going to kind of take a little break off of the stats here. And I want to go over first to Miss Sarah. So Miss Sarah, kind of, have you come off mute there and just tell us a little bit about yourself, about your story, what NASB has done for you and your family.
Hi, hope everybody's doing good this evening. I started with NASB in 2020, shortly after COVID started. I was previously working in the restaurant business / staying home with my first child, who is now 5, so he was 2 at the time. And me and my husband were kind of trading off kids versus working. So he gets all my leaves. Our schedules never were us having time off with the kids together. So when 2020, we had our daughter in January, and then a couple months later, COVID hit. So after having time off and feeling that family life, I wasn't ready to go back to a restaurant job. So I kind of started doing some research, because I also don't have a degree in anything. And I was 30, which that's not old, but at the time it felt scary to, look for something different or new. But I knew I wanted that freedom in that time. So I had a friend that worked in the company, and it just seemed like a great time to get licensed and take the time to focus on something new. So I've not regretted it. I love this company. I can make my own schedule each week. Benny is my partner. He works at a golf course, so he's off on Mondays and Tuesdays. So now if we have a day off together as a family, I'm taking Monday or Tuesday off, and then I'm dedicating 3 to 4 days in the field where I know I'm going to work a strict schedule each week. I have it planned out and I stick to it, but I'm making anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 every week on average. And that's working 3.
Did we lose Sarah? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll kind of go over to Greg. When Sarah comes on, we'll let her kind of finish a little bit. But we've got Greg. He's in Amarillo, Texas. So he is right. He would be technically kind of like my brother, right? Sideline to me here over in the Powerhouse team as well. Greg has done great. I love watching Greg. He's posting business every day. He's really caring about his clients. Great pictures. So Greg has really came in, and he was a boss. I mean, he came in and he did it. So Greg, just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your testimony on what's happened for
Sure.
here in North American.
Yeah, definitely. I'm off mute. You hear me, right? So I came in, so I have a degree in finance from Texas A&M. I did the desk job for a while, and the money was good. It was just so boring for me. And I'm a very outgoing guy, and I need to be around people. And I discovered that at that job. I just really hated sitting there all day, staring at a computer. Really, really hated it. I mean, I couldn't do it anymore. So I kind of took my chance at car sales, and I did real well there for about a year. And that's when COVID hit, and they were actually paying me, while COVID was going on. And so I was getting paid to do nothing, which was cool. But at the same time, I'm trying to figure out, hey, I like sales. This is new to me. I'm, 31. So what do I do with this new, found enjoyment in my life? And my boss now, my upline, John Cisco, who I went to high school with, he actually sent me a Facebook message, and he told me about, doing this. And I thought about it. He talked to me about it. Then he started training me even before I even signed up. He was talking to me about, hey, this is how you're doing it in car sales. You could be doing this with people here in life insurance. And I was like, wow, that sounds awesome. So I said, let's go for it. And I've been here 3 years now, and I'm telling you, it is so great, guys. Like everything you guys were saying, you want more time with family, you want more income, you want something that's stable. That's this job. And growing up, I was always surprised when people were working smaller paying jobs when there was one that was better paying and they could do that. And I was like, why don't people just do that? Now this is that job, but I just didn't know about it, but now we know about it, right? It's a numbers game. You have a strength. You might be introverted, you might be extroverted, you might be both, but it doesn't really matter in this job. You know, you have strengths within you. You know how to connect to people in one way or the other. And if you're just yourself at this job and you put the activity in, like Asia was saying, you do the work, you will succeed. I'm not just saying you might succeed, like you will succeed at this job. You just have to go for it. You know, you take a leap of faith and you go for it, and you'll see those numbers will follow. You'll learn. You have uplines here. You have a whole gambit of people that want you to succeed. So much, you know, readily available to you information that you can just tap into to learn about this job. And anyway, I've never made more money in my life. The flexibility is insane. You know, it's amazing. Like, it's one of those jobs where I could never go back now to a desk job. There's no way. Like, no way. This has been so good, so fun, so, you know, gratifying that this is where I'm at, you know. So that's a little bit, you know, to start.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I tell people the same, you know, I can't be tamed now. So never can I go sit back in an office. Never can someone tell me when I can go eat lunch or when I can go to the bathroom or whatever it is. Like, you know, never again can I go back to that, you know, owning your own schedule, your own life. So, and I really love to hear your story, Greg. It's like you've came in and you've done it consistently. So, and then Sarah, I'm going to hop back to you. It did fall off. I see you're back on there. So I'm going to come back over to you in just a second. Lastly, Greg, I just wanted to ask you, as far as the biggest tip to those that are potentially going to be hired that's on this call, what would be the biggest tip that you would give where you're at right now in your shoes, being that, you know, from the beginning to start, what do you think would make the biggest, you know, tip, I guess, and, you know, to help them out?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think my biggest tip would be trust the process. You know, everything your upline is telling you is what they did and it's how they succeeded. So if you just replicate what you're being told, you will also succeed. And I'm not saying you might, I'm saying you will. I mean, unless you just do not do the work and you're just completely on your heels, just don't want to do anything. If you're doing that, you won't succeed in anything really. But if you do the work here, you will succeed. Trust your upline, trust in the process, and focus on that. Don't focus on it's a commission job. You know, 3 years I've been here, I haven't once thought, man, this is hard. It's because it's purely commission. Like, not one time. We get paid so often in this job that it's a non-issue. I mean, hasn't even crossed my mind. So that would be my main advice. Trust in the process and trust in your upline.
I love that. And I think that that is a great tip too, because people come in scared and the wheel doesn't need to be reinvented. What we've done, it's a proven path, it's paved. We just have to follow it. So thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate that. And then
welcome.
Sarah, we'll have you hop back on there. And then I know you said, you know, we're kind of giving about COVID.
Yes. Can you hear me?
You know, coming back into your job. I can.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
I can.
Yeah. So
yes,
I
ma'am, you
just,
can go ahead.
thank you. I just didn't want to, you know, go back to trading off the kids. I did really enjoy the family aspect. And can you still hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. Last time I just said reconnecting and I didn't know there were any issues at all happening. So, yeah, so like I was saying though, I work now 4 days on average and I'm averaging anywhere from 1,200 a week to 2,000 a week, and that's working 4 days. That's, you know, sticking to a schedule that I plan ahead of time on. If I want to work these 3 days at the beginning of the week and these 2 at the end based off of what we have going on that week, I mean, that's up to me. And it is hard to think about going back to working days where I have to show up at this time. I have to show up on these days. Like, I now know the people I'm going to see each week. I have that planned out at the beginning of my week and I don't stop till the job's done. But I mean, I'm making great money, and some weeks I might only work 3 days. I don't suggest it all the time, but you know, life happens, and I do have 2 young kids. So I just want to be there and be a part of what we have going on. You know, that's a choice I chose before I started this career, but it was as a server. So I was still not really knowing what I could grow in that career. In this career, I see the potential to truly grow and and make a career out of it. And that's what I've done the last 3 years. And I mean, I've not looked back once. So
I love
I love
that.
it.
I love that. And you know, when I served too, it's like you think about it, you went in, you made $2.13 an hour and you waited on people to come in to see you and prayed that they did so you made money. Here
Right.
it's different. These folks are asking and requesting for information and we go to them, we go find them. Right.
That's
So
right.
every day, I mean, we're not sitting around waiting for someone to come to us. We're going to them and we're finding it. We're making it happen. Adrian said how many hours on average per week? That is completely up to you, Adrian. I have probably worked an average of 30 hours per week. Generally, just going to be 100% honest with you. Not many times have I worked 40 hours a week. I'm not sitting around taking long lunches or anything like that. But generally my average week is about 30 hours per week. What do you think yours would be, Sarah?
I would say most days I ask my nanny to be here at 9 and I'm normally home anywhere between 5 and 7, but that's only working 3 to 4 days a week. So I work longer days, but I have 4 days off a week. So I can't complain. Or, you know, I might know today, for instance, perfect example. I planned to work all day. I had my days scheduled and planned out, and I got lucky the first couple of houses I went to. And then, you know, I came home at 2 o'clock. And that was okay. I didn't have to feel like I had to stay out. I had other things that were important to me. My son starts kindergarten in 2 weeks and we have an appointment every week or an open house or a meet the teacher or he needs a physical. So I've been busy and that's okay because, you know, I worked my butt off last month and now this month it's okay if I take an extra day off or 2 a week to get the things done that are important to me, but I still have money coming in. So, I mean, really the hours you can work 30 hours a week or you could work 80 hours a week. It's totally up to you and what your availability is.
Perfect. And lastly, same that I gave Greg there at the last. So what would be your biggest tip to a potential new hire, being that you've been in the business from start to where you're at right now?
Yeah, I would say, you know, coming in, being a sponge, soaking in every aspect of what you're being taught, not coming in thinking this sounds good, but I could maybe find a better way to do it. No, like if you stick to the system, this is an easy job. They tell you how to go out and make the money. They show you the steps to take and the things to say. And if you do it, you will make money. Sticking to a schedule, you know, like I said, each week, some weeks I might work Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Some days I might work Tuesday through Saturday. It doesn't matter, whatever my week allows me to work. When I make that schedule, I stick to it. And being in this type of industry is really important to be hard on yourself because you're the one holding yourself accountable for what you're making income wise. And, you know, you can say you went out and worked these hours, but if you're not putting in the work, it's only you that are going to suffer. You know, if you're not putting in those hours and being strict and on a schedule, you know, you're not going to see the success. But if you do and you're taking in what your coach is telling you, you really have no failure ahead of you. I mean, you'll succeed.
Definitely. I agree. Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate that. And you can go ahead and move back
Thanks for having
to like, yes, ma'am. And so I always like to say it's the easiest, hardest job I've ever had. And that's being because you were your own boss. So the hardest part of my day is making myself go to work, right? That's it. Other than that, everything, you know, everything else kind of flows through. So we're going to kind of go over a few more, you know, why NASB, right? So if we're kind of looking at it from a broad spectrum, there's other folks out there. Why NASB? What makes a company great? What makes a company great will always be its people, right? So like you know, just a few folks that we've had talk today, you can tell there's passion there. They care, you know, they're out doing what they want to do on a daily basis. But our four pillars are: you are vested from day one. Okay, so vested from day one. Your book of business is your book of business. So when you come in, it's 1099, you're owning your own book of business, right? So you are vested. So not only are you getting commissions, but then you're getting renewals, right? So when those clients are renewing, as far as just keeping, you know, that policy, you're getting residual income that comes, from year to year to year. We have an in-house lead system. No one else has a granular in-house lead system like we do, right? So our lead system, I mean, there's thousands of leads. If they're not one in your area, all you have to do is simply put in a lead order, right? So I've worked in so many states, visited my grandpa in Kentucky, grandma in Texas, best friend in Ohio, all kind of thing. I just put in a lead order if there's none in that area. Right. And I go work where I want to work. So my office is my car, and wherever I want to go on a daily basis, right, I get to go and I get to choose that. So in-house lead system. Next, advancement real opportunity. We're getting that advancement of commission, right? So they're advancing you at commission. Different carriers structure different ways. And we are a legitimate brokerage. Right. So that means we're backed by integrity as well. We've been, here for over 10 years. We've got great partners, 18 partners right now in the company. So you literally can go into this brokerage and you can get stock. You can get different things once you hit different levels into your junior partners and partners. So the opportunity is there and the investment is there. And so, with being the real opportunity for investment, the commission horizons are so out of reach, sometimes. And so the sky's the limit, right? So there's no limit, there's no line there. You can continue to grow, promote yourself within the business. And so for those that are on here, and what you've heard today is something that you really feel like is a good fit for you. It's something that you would like to continue to do and grow the opportunity. The next step, a shadow ride along. If you haven't jumped in the car with someone, do it. You might be in a different state. That might be harder, different things like that. But like I told you, Laura reached out to me for 2 years. When I got in the car, I knew this is what I wanted to do. And 3.5 years later, it was the best decision I've ever made. So get in the car with those people, do a shadow ride along, see what it's like to get out there. It's real, have that opportunity. And then phase 1 training. So, they should be reaching out to whoever had you come on the Zoom tonight, whoever you spoke with, reach back out to them at the end of this Zoom. Have them, let them know, yes, I'm interested in this. Yes, let's schedule that ride along. Yes, I want this phase 1 training, that kind of thing. And so as far as anything else that you need to do, the person that is in contact will lead you along the way. So there's phase trainings. They'll really guide you on every step of the process. And the next step is just up to you to do it. So I thank everybody for getting on tonight. If you do have questions, again, direct those to the folks that send you over the link to get on tonight, and they should be able to answer any questions that you do have. And I appreciate everybody taking their time tonight. So have a good night, and I hope you guys really get to take advantage of the opportunity. Bye.